October 22nd, 2024, only 2 weeks before that big election. I honestly can't believe that there are people that believe that their vote counts and that if they vote for the right person, they win. Wow, things are going to turn around. It's never happened in the 65 years of my being an American living in this country. Everything has only gotten worse. Didn't matter, Republican or Democrat. Doesn't matter. Who controls the House? Who controls the White House? Who controls the Senate? Doesn't matter. We are the savior that we've been looking for. So, hope everybody is just doing fabulously. Hello, Alicia DeMoss and GeoFactor 3 and Andrew Cruz and Crazy Pots and Sandra. Hi, Julio and Lux and Player, Kim Blanchard, Tony Punch. Hey, Rage Against the Machine, Silent Walk, and James B. Oracle 11, Hypocrites Matrix, T. Lamb, Julie, Timothy Ryan, that's it. Wow. Not very many people. Oh, Little Wing 6 was 9. Greetings from Manchester, England. Yeah, it's still rubbish over here too. But we push on, don't we? Yeah. Seeing what's happening in England, you're a little bit more out there. Out there meaning your tyranny is more obvious. With all of these people being arrested for having an opinion that the state doesn't like. Yeah, another journalist arrested. Another day for that because there's so much happening. And yeah, there are so many people who are getting destroyed, and I can't stand it. I can't. I'm really having a hard time with it. The Odin disciple. Thanks. I know you're lying, but I appreciate it. Yeah, still single and will remain so. But thank you anyway. End Times Art, Mama Rages, hey. Yeah, today was pretty microwaved, let's just say that. The sky was very ionized and microwaved and carved out the clouds into, it looked like a lattice fence. And lattice is the term that I can't remember. I was doing the research on manufactured clouds and came across that term, and I was like, this is when I was in Great Barrington. So this was like 2011, 12. And I remember looking up at the sky and thinking, what am I looking at? It looks like a lattice fence. And I came across the lattice term in cloud making. So Hart Miller, hi. Oh man, I have to say it's just exhausting. Hey, Patricia. So yeah, I get a little nervous when I see not much happening, though we can see the Doppler radar. Yeah, we can see, those nanobots along the Atlantic coast, South North Carolina, on down off the coast of Georgia, Florida, and they seem to be there an awful lot. Do people think that there are blips of precipitation in a line that happens over and over and over again right off the coast here? Active frequencies up here. Massachusetts, New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland. Yeah, you go. You go. So no severe weather alerts, which is good, right? But check this out. This is Hurricane Oscar. You see this? Wow. So they swung it into Cuba, Santiago de Cuba. Hold, is that gun? Or I think it is. Okay. Yeah, they swung it in to Cuba. And now let's make a right-hand turn. Oh, and you can't see, man. What the hell? Carol, I need somebody to send me a buzzer that they can remotely just buzz me. No, I don't think so. Here's radar. Here are the frequencies up here in the northeast. Here are the blips of the precipitation that I was talking about off the coast of North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida. What do they have planned for us? Yeah, I do. Because it's been so long since I've seen pretty much consistently now since Hurricane Milton, not much weather happening in the United States, except for New Mexico, which we will get to because every day I see it's far worse than when I initially showed the flooding. But here is Oscar. Yeah, okay. We'll swing it into Cuba, and then we're just going to do a sharp right turn out of Cuba. Don't you think that's interesting? I think it's interesting. I don't think it's natural. Not at all. Oh boy. Now we have a tropical disturbance that started off the coast of like Acapulco, Mexico, and now it's it's Christie. It's got its name. And cone of uncertainty. They don't know where the hell it's going to go. But it's just going to sit there, right? Okay. We're going to get right to it. Oops, wrong one. A whole lot of people got destroyed in Roswell, New Mexico.
All right, here's a situation update. The back wall of the house is pretty sure it fell in. The car floated away. The inside of the house is a river. We're trapped on the front porch, and we have all the animals with us. There's Nikki. She has a cat right there. She has snakes in the backpack.
Oh, man.
We have both of our dogs. And then I have a cat on my back. And then that's the river. This is the front porch. And that's where we're at. We think it's receding because of that right there. We think we've hit the peak of it. Everything we own is gone.
Okay, where is that Odin thing? Another comment like that, and you're gone. Hey, Talanoose. Hey, Curious George. Test all spirits. Miss Blanche. Hi. I don't know what people are going to do. It's bad. Oh, but I wanted to start with the wildfires. Let's do that after Roswell, shall we? I want to shout out Graph Master for posting this video, which is a very good video. And I would like it if my subscribers came over and supported Graph Master simply based on this video. Thank you very much for posting it, because we get to hear what some people were saying in Roswell, New Mexico. I will say again, the scale of destruction and where that destruction took place in the Appalachian Mountains was probably the most intense that I have seen because of where it was. And then the scale of destruction, which took place in 5 states. Okay. And the very obvious, which begs questions, how did the hurricane do more destruction in the mountains of North Carolina than it did in Florida? Okay. We have seen this destruction over and over and over again. Let me emphasize again, this has been happening over and over, all over the world, but also in the United States, all over our country. Just in 2024, from January till now, state after state after state after state has gotten hit, counties getting hit with massive weather destruction. So I get a little frustrated when I hear people say, things like, oh, wow, so they're doing to Roswell what they did in North Carolina. They have been doing it all over. Look at what happened to Puerto Rico. Look at what happened to Maui. Look at all of the fires in California and fires in Tennessee and Colorado and Arizona and Texas and Canada. And now we have fires in the Northeast, which is kind of unheard of. But we have wildfires in the Northeast. So, but, it's we have been at war for a very, very long time. Weather used as a weapon in our country has been going on for a very, very, very long time. So in the recent fires, tornadoes, flooding events, hurricanes, in the recent, let's say in the past 2 years, we have so many who are still suffering the consequences. Most, especially now with our economy, most will not be able to recover. They might get some donations, they might get a little bit of help, but they will not get what they really need. What happens to them? We're talking hundreds of thousands, and it continues. Roswell.
Well, we were in bed asleep, And my son, he heard this rumbling going by the house. I didn't even hear it. I was asleep. And then he just raised up to look and see, and there was about 6 inches of water in here. It wasn't a lot. It was just about 6 inches. So I jumped off the bed, got dressed, and run in here and was packing things in the doors, trying to hold it, but there was no stopping it. Yeah. Just everything floated and it just fell over. Everything. This year, all my air compressors. That's my generator for my motorhome. And now I'm going to get the motorhome because we're going to need it. And I don't have a generator to. That truck was underwater. So everything you see right here has damage because of that water. Yeah. Everything. Water was all the way up to here, it went up to the dash. It's all total loss. But there's still water in the floorboard, water there. There's water in the trunk. Terrible.
Me, I was the only one who lived there. I got on top of my table at 6 in the afternoon, and I didn't get out of. I stood there all night, all morning, till National Guard came and rescued me. My friends, I just called them up, and they came to help the city, and then my son drove all the way from Albuquerque to help me clean up. And his friend Joseph Nazarella is helping me with the fixing of the house. Nazarella Construction.
This is my dog Nita. We just moved here in July. We're from Las Vegas, Nevada, and I did not realize that it was going to rain like it does here, but nobody did. So my story is, having just moved here in July, I don't really have any close friends or family nearby. So last night I spent in a Motel 6 with my dog and cat, and I called at 7 a.m. this morning. I started calling around because my Jeep electronics are messed up, having gotten wet. And I reached the owner of American Transmission here in Roswell. Her name is Laura. And we talked a little while, and she raises goats, and I told her how bad it is out here in Tilden. And she said, well, where are you? And I said, I'm at Motel 6. And she said, my mechanic suggests leaving your vehicle hood and windows open for 48 hours or more, let it dry completely. And she said, I'll just come get you and take you over to Home Depot and get whatever you need, and I'll take you and your dog and cat home. And then you can, if you need a ride back to your car, whatever you need, just let me know. And so she did that. She took me to Home Depot, and I got a wet dry vac, and I got all the things I need for cleaning. And then she brought my dog and cat home, and while I was in the store, she watched the dog and cat. And I said, I really appreciate this because, like I said, I don't really have any friends here. And she said, well, now you do.
I didn't go to sleep because I was afraid. I didn't know what was happening, and the water was just rising. And I just stood up till I could not stop the water from coming inside my house. And I didn't go to bed till about 3:30 till everything calmed down.
So how much water do you think went in?
About 1.5 feet.
So everything is pretty much
damaged. Everything is totally damaged. All my furniture that I had bought, everything. That's my sister Mabel there. It's my friends Andre and my other friend Mark. They're trying to help me start this vehicle here. Well, it was raining quite a bit, and then we got to noticing water level coming up, and it started coming in my dryer vent down here first, and then before you know it, it's coming up across my porch, and we're just blocking water out of my doors. And I have a good support group because I have some adults live with me, and we just push water out the front as quick out the back as quick as it came in the front. We all kind of been doing what we need to do to get by. You know, we talk to each other, offer each other's help, but most of us, we've all got good support groups. We got people coming out to help us move our furniture in and out or whatever we have to do.
My mom called us. Pretty much she said the house was like getting water in, but it wasn't to like a scary standpoint. It wasn't scary yet. Um, then she calls us and we hear like panics in the background, and it's my little sister. I have a younger sister. She's 11, and they see this big shipping crate pretty much crash into the house area. Then she shows us videos and pictures of the water flood, and it's pretty big. My sister's pretty short, so it was already waist high. She can't swim. She can't swim. We were at home, like, like I don't know, like frustrated because we couldn't do anything. Um, my little sister was scared. My mom was scared. Neither of them can swim. My grandma was here too. It was just like a traumatizing thing for us because we couldn't do anything. We felt like vulnerable. I'm talking on behalf of my mom. She does need help. She needs resources, as many as we can reach out. My mom is a single mother. She's a widow. My dad died 2 years ago. I have a 18-year-old sister and an 11-year-old little sister. So, this is like devastating for us. And me being the oldest, it's hard. So, as much help that we can get would be great because she has nothing. She lost her husband already, and to lose her house is obviously devastating as well.
Wow.
This
So now you can actually, every time it rains, you can count on your infrastructure being destroyed, roads being ripped up. Oh, man. Bridges collapsing, sewage failures, and really? Okay. We've seen this over and over and over, all across the country. Vermont got devastated this year. Other states, again, I used to post regular videos on neverlosetruth of US flooding as much as I could capture, also world flooding. But since I've been doing the lives, it's at the beginning of the lives that I concentrate on weather destruction. And boy, just 2024. Well, every year, every new year, I have said it's going to get a whole lot worse. And it has. It has. People in Roswell, most people do not have flood insurance. It's not an affluent town. Okay. Older adults in Lakeland Mobile Home Park desperately need help after Milton. Any of you guys in Florida near Lakeland, can you go down and help these elderly people out?
Welcome back. Nearly 2 weeks after Hurricane Milton hit Florida, and some older residents are still struggling to recover tonight. ABC Action News reporter Rebecca Petit listening to folks at a 55-plus mobile home park in desperate need of help.
People living at Light and Life Mobile Home Park here in Lakeland have lost so much from Hurricane Milton. Many of them are seniors and just don't have the manpower to physically clean out their homes that were flooded.
We got black mold already growing on the walls.
170 homes at Light and Life Park were flooded with up to 7 feet of water when Milton roared through the retirement community. It took several days before residents could even get back into their homes to assess the damage.
We had a little island of dry up there. You're stunned. I would never say walk through water, but you get to the point where you just want to see your home and see where it's at. So you get shorts on and you walk through the water. It's up to here.
Jamie Sinsmere is one of the youngest residents of this 55 and older community. She says her neighbors have barely scratched the surface when it comes to cleaning up.
As the water kept going down, it was when it started to get harder, because then you got to see, right? You got to see that you've lost everything.
Handling the fallout of the storm has been extremely difficult for seniors here, as they simply can't do the taxing labor of moving furniture, gutting, and tearing out walls. And there are some residents that are seasonal and have not yet been able to get back to their homes to begin the long cleanup process.
There's just furniture upside down, refrigerators on the back, tossed around, laying on top of other stuff. Dryers, the same thing. You know, they would float and then move wherever.
The park's manager and neighbors are pitching in to help, but there's only so much that they can do.
I need some people who are willing to get in the dirt and the dirty and go in and lift heavy stuff out of houses, pull out carpet, help us cut walls. But our first thing is just getting houses stripped of the stuff that needs to come out. So I need bodies. I'm crying uncle, we need some help over here.
If you'd like more information on how you can help, visit our website, abcactionnews.com.
And I will put the link in just in case somebody might be able to help. I've said that over and over and over again for years. What are the elderly doing when they destroy their homes and they don't have help? And then we have so many Americans, regardless of age, who are physically not well, disabled, have chronic illnesses. And then you have to deal with all of this. It's a lot. So wildfires erupt. Dry conditions continue. Oh, those dry conditions. New Jersey, Connecticut,
Yeah, and what does that lead to? Big problems, right? The lack of measurable rain is translating into dangerous fire concerns across the Northeast. Happening now, firefighters in Connecticut battling multiple brush fires throughout the state. While the dry brush is largely to blame, we've also been experiencing some breezy winds and that low humidity Ari was mentioning. So parts of Connecticut reporting less than half an inch of rain so far this month. No rain, as we mentioned, is expected this week. I mean, maybe we see some sprinkles in Connecticut with the passing of that front, but is it measurable? I don't know about that. Temperatures also expected to cool off by Thursday, but there's a look at the fire that they're currently battling. The good news is that firefighters are saying it's not rapidly spreading, so that's allowing them to make more progress or any progress, but it erupted yesterday. I want to bring in meteorologist Britta Merwin because, Britta, it's not just Connecticut. I mean, you head down the I-95 into New Jersey, and it's a very similar situation.
Yes, I think the only thing that's on our side is that the winds have been in check. That would be a game changer. Yeah. Also, how you approach wildfire in the Northeast is extremely aggressive because of the population density. Think about how many people live up and down the 95 corridor. It's the busiest stretch in terms of population density in our entire country. This is video from Rockaway Township, New Jersey. This is Morris County, New Jersey, northern parts of the state. A lot of folks actually commute in and out of New York City every single day from Morris County, New Jersey. You're talking about maybe a 45-hour drive from New York City itself. Firefighters making some big progress here. Again, we have containment lines that are progressing. They're over 75% contained here. But the problem is that this is going to be something that continues to pop up. South of Morris County, in New Jersey, you find the Pine Barrens. Now, the Pine Barrens are a huge chunk of the state of New Jersey. It makes up 22% of the state. The Pine Barrens is over 1.1 million acres in size. Get this, right within the state of New Jersey, over 9 million people. That's how big the stakes are, guys. You have 9 million people with 1.1 million acres of dry tinder waiting to catch on fire. In fact, Forbes magazine a couple years back wrote an article really pointing out the danger here, that the Pine Barrens in the state of New Jersey could be a lurking, that's the word I'm looking for, a lurking giant in terms of natural disaster because of the Pine Barrens. And if it gets too dry, you can get yourself into a scary situation. So again, we have multiple fires that are working both in the state of New Jersey and also Connecticut. So we do need to get the rain in here. Unfortunately, it's just not in the mix. Again, you guys are talking about that dry cold front. I don't think we're going to be able to get measurable rain, but we don't just need measurable rain. We need like soaking rain. We haven't had rain in 3 weeks, and so the soil is very, very dry. Not only are we off to the driest stretch for fall for many.
No heat, no hot water, and some folks in Alamogordo haven't had access to gas for going on 5 months now.
Fixing gas service is part of a growing to-do list at a couple of mobile home parks with the same out-of-state owner. Our 4 Investigates team has been...
No sound. And everything that I just said was so brilliant and you missed it. I'm sorry. I've said it over and over and over again. The flames, the white flame, too hot for a wildfire like that. Looked like the ground that was the only thing that was burning. Okay, that's what I said. So sorry. Yeah, but I did look to see where KOB4 was, and now I forgot. KOB4. Albuquerque, New Mexico. Right.
Been taking a close look at these mobile home laws.
And Brittany Costello discovered gaps in laws already on the books and is asking why the state seems reluctant to protect its own people.
Really?
Retirement is supposed to be easy.
We can't survive without some kind of utility to heat our homes.
We are cash cows. All right? We're basically prisoners.
When out-of-state landlords won't fix problems.
I should be playing bingo right now, and all I do is cry at night and worry and fight.
When the state won't step in, retirement can feel like giving up. The palm trees and front porch Mountain View helped sell this plot, what Florence Dean calls her last big investment. A decision.
I do have water.
She spends a lot of time questioning these days.
I mean, it's not going to kill me to wash dishes.
8 years into her retirement, she discovered gas shut off at her Desert Palms mobile home park in Alamogordo.
Like, wow, how do I cook? I don't have hot water. No problem with heating because it's the middle of summer, but yeah, and I thought, well, surely they will fix this.
That was early June.
We can't survive without some kind of utility to heat our homes.
Desert Palms has what's called a master meter. So instead of a gas meter at each home, it has one controlled by the landlord. A spokesman for the gas company says this summer they discovered an area leak and they shut everything down, leaving it to the owner to fix. Neighbor Alice Evans says she's seen no rush to fix the problem.
I had to buy a little hot plate to cook on. I've had to heat my water in a little pitcher, little electric teapot that I have. I have cold shower.
4 months in, she says some holes in the ground aren't good enough.
Winter coming is not a good prospect. It's frightening.
The owner of Desert Palms is out of California. We wanted to talk to him, but he never called us back. Turns out he's the same owner of another mobile home park down the street. And people there say cutting corners is expected.
We are cash cows. All right? We're basically prisoners.
Gary Perry at Amber Skies helped organize outspoken residents who say rent is going up while quality of life is going down. A gate stopped working. Ongoing water leaks that happen sometimes days at a time. Now it's hard to sell and near impossible to leave.
You can't move these houses. You could, but the expense is just out of the question. In addition to potential damage of it, all right?
This is one of the last affordable ways to have a beautiful home. See how much higher that is when you're standing here?
Carolyn Ross says her home passed New Mexico's required lot and home inspection, but now her brand new home is sinking.
Where the piers are underwater, my dining room creaks so bad. It sounds like the Titanic when I walk on it. When the Titanic broke and it's like...
She called New Mexico State Regulation and Licensing, which says there are issues violating New Mexico state law.
I got a fancy letter with the governor's letterhead listing all the code violations. They gave 50% blame to Amber Skies for not preparing my lot properly, or not preparing it at all, and half to the dealer and installer, because when they drove up with my new home, they should have looked at that lot and said, it is not suitable. It is not right.
What do you get from that?
I get nothing from that. They gave me the code violation determination. It's all fancy and legal and looks good, and then told me to go hire a lawyer. They're not going to enforce it. They're not going to help me. All the people on this code violation determination walked away scot-free to do this to the next innocent victim.
The state's manufactured housing division dropped Ross's case for lack of jurisdiction.
I should be playing bingo right now, and and all I do is cry at night and worry and fight.
The state won't require a fix, telling her it has no legislative authority to force a contractor to comply with code corrections.
If they would just enforce the law, it would save my house right now.
Those utility issues are on the radar of Attorney General Raul Torres. He's going after the park owner. We'll sit down with him next week to talk.
The state can't enforce code violations? Really? That's the first I've heard that. Wow. Okay, so what are we doing here? The elderly have to deal with this? This is when we need community. This is when the community outside that park should rally together, do something to help these people. So many people are really, really scared, worried. The elderly in our country, we don't take care of them. And yeah, it's kind of, now I see all of this evil. And of course, and don't think, that I'm using that word in a religious manner. Evil exists, and we see it, and it's obvious, and people are getting destroyed by it more and more every single day. And I wonder, we've been delusional forever. Americans especially. We have just been living in the evil empire with everything getting worse. But so delusional that we really thought that we were living in the country that was morally superior and exceptional to all. And a whole lot of Americans still think that. That's frightening. If we were a good people, we wouldn't be living what we're living. That's a hard one to face, but it's a fact. Because good people actually do things to ensure, that other people don't get destroyed. They fight for justice. They don't just say, oh, what a shame, and go about their lives. And more, man. Wow. How much will FEMA pay to purchase a flooded beach home?
Well, imagine your home flooding over and over again. Well, that's what's happened to a family in Ormond Beach. Well, for the fourth time in 7 years, their home once again looks like it's been flooded by a hurricane. That's what they're dealing with. And this time, they're a huge step closer to getting results from FEMA. But as News 6 investigator Eric Sandoval found out, it may not be enough.
This is what Lisa and Bruce Chiarizzi's home looked like the day after Hurricane Milton hit Ormond Beach. Storm surge and heavy rain flooded the Tomoka River, which is just a few houses away, and it sent water into every corner of their home.
This is 4 times we've rebuilt. 4.
Now they're on track to actually sell their home to FEMA. But what's a fair sale price? According to emails,
they can't sell it to anyone else. No one will buy that house after it's been flooded 4 times in 7 years. This is what FEMA and the weather terrorists have been doing for decades.
sent to the Chiarizzis from Volusia County Emergency Management, the county says the state submitted their application to FEMA with a proposed purchase price of $246,000, which is close to the assessed value found on the county's tax rolls. The Chiarizzis hired their own appraiser, who estimated their home was worth $404,000, a difference of $157,000.
I want what's on that grant, which is fair market value on the day before the event.
Volusia County emailed the Chiarizzis, FEMA is more likely to approve the project at this lower value, Once it returns, the state would then be able to adjust the budget to the new appraisal amount, which we've confirmed they do have.
This is a building, but this is my biggest piece of equity that I own. This is the money I need to create a life for the two of us.
In Ormond Beach, Eric Sandoval, Getting Results.
This is all current. So when you see just one person that upset, expand it out to thousands and thousands, tens of thousands, just with the current weather events or the recent weather events. And yeah, Florida, the flooding continues. And a whole lot of people are just now still sitting in flooded communities. When was Milton 2 weeks ago?
Lakeland City Hall confronting local leaders over what they say is inaction on persistent flooding in and around their homes. We know that the city of Lakeland during Hurricane Milton, a 24-hour span, got about a foot of rain, taxing the system's stormwater system. The city says all area lakes are flooded and that it's not easy to alleviate flood conditions and lower lake levels. Most of the drainage lakes, along with tributaries and rivers, they have these high levels, which is not helping the flooding situation because of higher than normal rainfall over the summer. The largest drainage system is Lake Parker. Other lakes at higher elevations flow into it, but Lake Bonnie is on an equal level with Lake Parker. Since Hurricane Debbie in early August, the city's been pushing water from Lake Bonnie to Lake Parker with a high-volume pump. The water from Lake Parker eventually flows to the Peace River, although through Lake Hancock, but they're also at flood level.
The water didn't go down. It's gone up. It's gone up since then. I think it's at more of a steady state right now. I hear a lot of things about pumps not running or whatnot. I concentrated on getting my things out of the house as soon as I could into some storage facilities.
In one news broadcast, I heard a county official say, it's because of all of the rain before Milton. Then Milton comes, the lake, we can't do anything about it. You're just sitting in water now. We can't do anything about it. People have to understand that all of that rain that I saw in Florida, how many times did I say, oh, more rain in Florida, more rain in Florida, more rain in Florida, is engineered, manufactured. And if people would look into weather modification, they might be horrified, but at least they might understand what they're living.
Day 12 today, and we really need the help.
Marie Mon stood at the end of a flooded road in her Feather Rock mobile home community in Valrico. The water, a reminder of
Another area in Florida.
Hurricane Milton's aftermath.
Some of our families have not been able to return home yet after the hurricane because of the flooding.
Concerned neighbors reached out to ABC Action News because part of this area was still underwater days after the storm.
We are working with the county to try to get help, and we're asking them to think outside of the box, to remove this water and put it where it needs to go. And if they have to go outside of their normal protocols, we ask them to please do that and help us with our community.
The water.
Can you imagine living like this?
In the Feather Rock community butts up to the flooded area that leads to North Valrico Road. You can see how high the water was as of Monday morning, submerging cars and impacting nearby businesses.
Basically what we've got is a water traffic jam. So the water from all of these different areas hasn't had anywhere to go.
I took those concerns to Hillsborough County officials.
And of course, the officials were all ready to answer all the questions and get a solution. Work together and get rid of that water. Not. Don't you love it? No, sarcasm. the amount of money that our officials that represent us spend on their own self having a good time while their constituents are looking at a loss of everything, right? This, I mean, this has been going on my entire life, only getting worse and getting far more obvious, the abject corruption of both parties that clearly do not care about Americans. They sure do care about enriching themselves and living this fabulous lifestyle, while their constituents, their lifestyle is just plummeting. $13,000 on oysters and Martha's Vineyard trips. Johanna Hayes, Representative, Democrat. This was the Connecticut flooding in, when was this? Oh, severe storm, August 18. While residents of Western Connecticut were cleaning up from deadly floods this past August, their representative, Johanna Hayes, slurped down oysters, pampered herself at a pricey salon, traveled to Martha's Vineyard, then to the DNC convention, spending nearly $13,000 in the process. Three-term incumbent flew to the Windy City just as her home state was hit with a severe storm, which caused more than $206 million in damages to bridges and roads and businesses and homes. Due to flooding, mudslides, and landslides, more than 100 residents were evacuated. 2 elderly women died. And we have no money for you. Because, you know, these people have to slurp their oysters and go to salons in Martha's Vineyard. So sick of it. I am so, yeah. And it's not a blue thing or a red thing. It's an American thing. Insurance company refuses to pay 82-year-old Las Vegas woman's claim after her home burned down. I'm not going to play the entire video. I will post a link if you want to listen to all of the hell that she has been put through by her insurance company. 82 years old. I'm just going to play a few minutes, probably stop it, where one of the firemen, I guess, mentioned that it might be caused due to, meters.
She lost everything inside, but there is more to that story.
And the woman got in touch with the 87 investigators because her insurance company, they won't give her a dime.
Our Kyle Payne met with the distraught homeowner and joins us now with an update. Kyle.
Denise, David, this started off as another story of someone who felt scammed by a solar company. But when we dug into it, the homeowner told us about her year-long fight with a major insurance company after her house burned down. Solar was the least of her problems. And you want to move into your house again?
You got that one right.
Just want to say, 82? Oh, man, oh, man. I'm going to look like a rotten apple by next year. I'm getting there. 82. Okay.
I love my house, you know, and I updated it, and it was really, really nice. And you can see the backyard was nice.
Even the backyard was nice at Judy Johnson's single-family home alongside the I-15 near Oakey and MLK.
until July 2023, when after living there just a few years,
What happened was the fire department said it appears that the fire started at the meter for the solar and went up the walls to the roof, and 70% of the house interior is gone.
Gone, but not forgotten. Not considering the war the 82-year-old Johnson is waging against her homeowner's insurance company, Liberty Mutual.
The link is in the chat. You can listen. Yeah, she's been put through hell and treated very poorly, of course. And so you have somebody claiming that it was the solar meter or the meter, smart meter, perhaps. Okay. Insurance assessor comes out and finds a cigarette butt and says, well, this is what caused the fire. A cigarette butt that still exists, but that caused the fire. Cigarette butt. Yeah, really? They won't pay out. So if you have anything happening to your home, brace yourself and your psyche for, oh, I've been paying those premiums for years and years and years, and now I'm being denied, because that's happening more and more. There was a train derailment in Austin, Texas. Yeah. Okay. Look at that sky. Look at that sky. Black, pink, white. Yeah, that's our cloud. So I don't know what's happening with this train derailment. If anybody does, please inform us in the chat. We have a bigger problem with our border. A whole lot of coming across right before the election. Busload after busload after busload caught on camera full of illegal migrants from the border, dropped off in America. So this is James O'Keefe's A Line in the Sand. And I'm not going to play the whole thing, but I will. This is an excerpt from the documentary. It's it goes on, and I don't know. Do we have a problem with getting the information out there? Do Americans realize what is really going on in this country?
That's what it's all about there. It's all about the money. We paid a visit to the bus company, Damaris.
Sir, can you step out of the property, please?
How do you get the contract from the DHS? The owner of Damaris is Javier Becerra. How do you get the contracts from the federal government, DHS? How do you get those contracts?
Sir, can you step out of the property, please?
Many of these buses filled with immigrants depart from Customs and Border Patrol stations and eventually arrive at the parking lot for the Iris Avenue trolley station in San Ysidro. We went there and immediately saw an immigrant bus arriving. We noticed right away there were hundreds of immigrants everywhere.
All these people right here have been in detention already. They got released out of detention.
There was lots of activity in the parking lot, including representatives of NGOs giving instructions to the migrants. NGO stands for non-governmental organization. But in addressing political and social issues, they receive money from the government. We encountered many different NGOs in the parking lot, all interacting with the immigrants. Those included Immigrant Defenders, Haitian Bridge Alliance, Otralato, Catholic Services, Asian Americans Advancing Justice, and the World Professional Association of Transgender Health. Like clockwork, every single hour, dozens of illegal immigrants dropped off here by buses. The NGOs lead a throng of immigrants onto the MTS trolley.
We take them from Iris all the way to Old Town. And once they go to Old Town, there's the free airport shuttle to the airport.
There's a free bus. We have a free shuttle.
It's free. It's free.
Airport, gratis, free. So your organization is
Immigrant Defenders? Or
the hope is that they can at least get connected with a legit attorney wherever they're going.
These groups get large amounts of money. The more immigrants they represent, the more money they receive. And the endless flow of money has created a vast infrastructure of legal NGOs that exploit the system.
Hay un grupo de abogados para los migrantes como grupo saben cómo hablar con.
I don't know what to say. This has been going on for so long prior to Biden, okay? Went on during Trump, went on during Obama, went on Bush. The border situation, it's an easy fix. Just enforce immigration law. Hey, okay. No, we're going to say the same thing over and over again to Americans. We're going to blame, I'm a Democrat and I'm going to blame the Republicans, and Republicans are going to blame the Democrats. We just need a bipartisan fix. We need a bipartisan legislation, no, you don't. You need to secure the border and you need to enforce immigration law. Americans, don't you know that you've been listening to the same crap while more and more and more flood into the country, destroying Americans? I don't get it. So here, link in the chat. You can listen to the last 4 minutes of that excerpt. Texas, Eagle Pass, what's happening? I thought Governor Abbott sent down that National Guard and no more crossing for Eagle Pass. Oh, it was a whole staged affair for the American people to see, especially Texans. Oh, look, Governor Abbott, he's protecting us. No, because they were still coming in at all of the other crossings. Yeah. Okay. So now they're coming in through Eagle Pass again. Oh, man. Yeah. Okay. And I will post the link to this. Panama, former U.S. Army base, converted into a United Nations NGO mega station to send illegal migrants to America. Well, I don't know. United Nations has the Compact for Migration. Whole lot of nations, a whole lot, signed on. They're signatories. All of this is very deliberate. But Americans, you like the bullshit narrative of, well, they're just looking for, a better life for themselves and their children. This is all organic, you see. Oh, yeah, really? Americans thought they were smart. That was another delusion. Just a few minutes.
The space being converted into a United Nations NGO hub. Now we're going to do kind of a more in-depth story since they told us that we couldn't be here. Hola, buenas. Oh no, it's okay. Okay, sí, en la calle. Acá estamos. Okay, so he said no filming the. No filming the building. They already cleared So wait a second. We can record the streets, but not the buildings. Well, that's not going to happen.
Can't record those buildings. That's Oscar with Ben. Here we go. Migrant caravans coming up from southern Mexico.
Ali, who's watching the latest developments, joins us live. And Ali, news outlets in Mexico are reporting this is a large group of migrants.
Yeah, Nicole, it's actually the third in just 3 weeks and the largest one under newly sworn in Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum. So we're talking about thousands of people that are traversing towards the U.S. southern border. And the conversation being had down here is get in before Trump does, if that is going to happen in November, because former President Trump is promising the largest mass deportation in American history. So the idea is they have between basically now and January 21st before that kind of proverbial door ends up closing. So here's what we know about this group right now. It basically broke off of Tapachula, which is kind of the southernmost point of Mexico where most of these caravans kind of start. This one's about 2,000 people when it started, but it's picking up and it's growing. So it's called God Guides Us. It's made up of people from all over. We're talking about Venezuela, Colombia, Haiti, Afghanistan, and Nepal. That's according to local reports. So it departed from Tapachula. It broke free on Sunday. It's heading north. Luis Villagran, he is part of this caravan as well. And he's actually part of the one that I walked with back in 2021. He strongly leans on his faith. This video you're watching is from my caravan of about 6,000 people. Luis Villagran says that people down in Tapachula are trapped because of delays in issuing humanitarian visas. He also cited the issues with the CBP1 app. Now, southern border communities that have been overwhelmed during the crisis are bracing for impact. The El Paso sector is one of the busiest right now for migrant encounters. City leaders are monitoring the movements.
We're aware of multiple groups of people. Also, as you said it, we don't know exactly what part of the border they are going. They might as well go to El Paso, or they can end up in maybe McAllen, Texas. So that changes a lot the dynamics of every.
El Paso, Texas? McAllen, Texas? Oh, right. They've been coming through those crossings, but now they're back at Eagle Pass. Isn't that interesting? When are Americans going to get that what your politicians are saying to you, you can pretty much believe? It's the opposite. It's bullshit. We live in a bullshit nation. And that makes life very hard. I'll put the link in the last 45 seconds of this. Yeah. Yeah. And 2 illegals were just arrested in Florida for sex trafficking a 16-year-old girl. One of the illegals was out on bond for an attempted murder.
More charges could be coming for 2 undocumented migrants accused of sex trafficking a 15-year-old girl. We are going to be digging into this case more for sure. The victim's a runaway from New York. The 15-year-old told detectives she was forced into nearly a dozen sexual acts for money. We know the suspects are in jail right now, arrested over the weekend. Palm Beach County deputies picked them up at a Motel 6 on West Blue Heron Boulevard in Riviera Beach.
Here's a guy deported. Now he's illegally back in the country for a second time. So obviously, whatever this vetting system is at the border ain't working.
Now, the sheriff does say this trafficking case came from a tip and that it could be tied to a Venezuelan gang. Victim was reported missing more than a month ago. She will be returned to her family in New York. Her charge.
This is what our country has become. I mean, it's bad. Okay? It's really fucking bad. And I want to thank my subscriber for sending this along. And I also will put the link in because I can't play the entire, but it's another excerpt from Line in the Sand. Important information, whistleblower.
Moment was when I found out that GSA had awarded a contract to a company to transport unaccompanied minors.
What was that like for you?
It was like someone kicked me in my gut. Once I found out about the contract, after that night, I got on my computer and I started doing a Google search.
Action obligation 40 million, total contract value 347 million. That's over $250 million. That's a lot of money to transport unaccompanied children. I mean, this is a big money business.
And that's why we're sitting here today, because as I shared before, what you know, you cannot unknow.
The crisis of conscience would only grow and reach inside the holy grail of the unaccompanied child transportation business. There's the white buses right there. That's the FedEx transportation hub for the unaccompanied minor children. They stop the transportation of children, they stop the money.
My name is Clarissa Rippey.
And where do you work?
I work for General Services Administration, aka GSA.
And for those who are not familiar with what GSA is or what it does, can you talk a little about that?
GSA, it basically manages all the services for the federal government. Then you have the transportation side of GSA that manages like travel, transportation, and logistics, that's the area that I'm working in right now.
And what sort of thing do you do in that department?
I'm what's called an 1102. I'm a contract specialist, and my responsibility is to work with contractors that provide products and services to the federal government. And I work on a team of contracting officers, and we award those contracts.
NGO stands for non-governmental organization. But in addressing political and social issues, they receive money from the government. These groups get large amounts of money. The more immigrants they represent, the more money they receive.
Follow it? Well, the film Line in the Sand, we saw so many of these companies. People were amazed and shocked to see just how many busing companies and making so much money off of the crisis. Were you aware of some of those names of those companies in the film? Or?
Not originally. Then I came over to TTL and became aware that that GSA had awarded a contract for the transportation services.
What was your line in the sand moment here in this situation?
My line in the sand moment was when I found out that GSA had awarded a contract to a company to transport unaccompanied minors.
So you found this out, and then you had this line in the sand moment. What was that like for you?
It was like someone kicked me in my gut, because I had just gotten a promotion, accepted the position for that particular division, and I was not aware at all that the agency that I worked for was party to transporting unaccompanied minors. Once I found out about the contract that night, I got on my computer and I started doing a Google search, and I did keyword searches. I did transport unaccompanied minors. I put in transport of immigrant children, and all of these websites popped up, and it led back to some of these NGOs and these companies, like Acuity, which was the original awardee of the contract. And then MVM protested that award, and the contract wound up back with MVM.
Within the last 9 months, MVM has received over $129 million from the Department of Homeland Security, $719 million from DHS overall.
But as I continued to read the documents that I found online, I found out these are the illegal immigrants, minors who are coming over without their parents, without anyone that they knew, being shipped at every hour of the day, especially like late at night when we're all asleep in our beds and our children are safe at home. These children were being shipped all over the place.
Shipped over, and that must have made you feel guilty.
Yeah.
For having this promotion.
Mm-hmm.
And that was your line in the sand moment. And we also have some documents here that we've been provided by you. Just tell me what this one here indicates.
This is a GSA contract that was awarded to MVM.
And so it says here in this document that action obligation $40 million.
USA, 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 #1 in human trafficking, #1 in child trafficking. #1, how? How is it possible? Morally superior. How is it possible? When a whole lot of people just put labels on themselves because it makes them feel good and go about living a really self-centered, selfish lifestyle. The amount of money that is being made, even in Texas, when Governor Abbott was putting all of the migrants on buses, the states also have contracts, and Abbott awarded his friend the contract, and it was an astronomical amount for one migrant coming on that bus, and the bus, would carry an awful lot of migrants. They were making a fortune. It was Abbott's friend. Okay, so yeah, New York police officers were having difficulty getting into a migrant hotel. Okay, that's showing itself. There was a 911 emergency call for help, and they wouldn't let the officers in for quite a while. 911 emergency means it's an emergency.
Are the cops not allowed in? But there was a 911 call. They're not allowed to go in? So you got to get a supervisor and let the cops come in for a 911 call? So that's their rules? That's the I know, but it's a little strange that a cop gets a 911 call and they're not allowed in. They have to wait for a supervisor. This supervisor, I know.
Our country does not operate the way it used to, and it's only going to be showing its face, all of the dramatic changes, more and more. I will post the link to Gregory Mannarino's video that he posted today. You might want to take a listen. Things are not good with our economy. We are being destroyed from within. And boy, does he emphasize that fact. Hopefully, someone will listen. This has been going on for a long time. World's largest dew. Okay, South Pole earthquake weapon. All right, I'm going to play a few minutes, just a few minutes, but the link is in the chat. And if you don't know about this topic, click on the link.
On this channel, we've discussed weather modification technologies, large-scale optical illusions in the sky, and shady organizations that are trying to gobble up all of our land. And yet, what I'm going to talk about today might be the scariest topic I've covered so far. Since I have a habit of reading your comments, I know many of you keep up with these obscure stories that the mainstream media simply refuses to cover. That's exactly why I believe some of you might know about what Raytheon is doing in a US-funded facility situated in the South Pole. And if you don't know, you really should, because their actions are not only changing our present, but are going to have some drastic effects on our future as well. But before we even talk about what they're doing in that frozen landscape, let's find out what this facility actually is. And luckily, we have someone who has not only worked in this ultra-secret facility, but is also willing to talk about it without any hesitation.
I'm very happy that you're giving me this attention and this information attention, because it needs to get out to the world. I will start, since we have to be brief. I have already given all pertinent information and supporting documentation to the Senate Intelligence Committee and ARROW. They informed me that all of my information will be recorded for public record and shared with Congress. It is that important. In 2010, I was selected to go down to the South Pole Station in Antarctica for an entire year by Raytheon Polar Services as an employee of a third-party contractor for the National Science Foundation. I function in a dual role capacity as a tradesman and a firefighter. My responsibilities required me to be more informed than most of my crew and offered me complete access to the facilities. What I learned from this unique experience needs to be shared with the entire world. The technology at the South Pole Station certainly can do what it is presented as its primary purposes, and unfortunately, much more. The ice cube neutrino detector is presented as a passive listening device for the purposes of the science as presented.
So basically, Eric says he was working on behalf of the National Science Foundation, and his job took him to the Ice Cube Neutrino Observatory that's located in Antarctica. One quick search will tell you that this observatory was developed by the University of Wisconsin-Madison and constructed at the Amundsen Scott South Pole Station. This project is a recognized CERN experiment. The observatory ice cube consists of spherical optical sensors called digital optical modules, or DOMs. And as for why we made an observatory in the middle of nowhere, well, according to their website, the facility was primarily designed to observe neutrinos from the most violent astrophysical sources in our universe. Now, so far, this observatory looks like just another one of hundreds of research labs that are located in the South Pole. However, according to Eric, the real purpose of this lab is far more sinister than any of us can even imagine.
The season that I was there, 2010 to 2011, we converted from construction to operations and maintenance in both the elevated station and the detector array. Unfortunately, when they first fired it up, that was when we had the earthquakes in Christchurch, New Zealand. There was two.
Okay, yeah, okay. So, Christchurch, remember that earthquake, which was just a devastation that Yeah, I mean, we've seen that movie over and over again, but listen up. They have an awful lot of weapons that are incredibly evil, sinister, and they use them. They friggin' use them. The link is in the chat again. Okay, I listened to this video, the full video, which is only 16 minutes and some odd, 40. So it's 17 minutes. All right. I posted years ago on, this was during the Obama years, on the Dominion voting machines, which are known to change votes, and we're still using them. Well, here, this man gives out an Gary Bernstein, whistleblower with deep ties to the Department of Justice, FBI, DEA, Homeland Security. 3 years investigating election irregularities. All right. We haven't had fair elections in our country in decades. On Twitter, I see a lot of people posting in different states that they've already gone to the voting machines and they are saying that when they get their paper ballot, it's a different name than they inputted. Already, we're seeing all of the fraud, ballots, just being given to random people. So we're doing a repeat again, another freaking repeat. I can't stand repeats. I'd like to see some solutions. Gets really friggin' tiring, this country and Americans, who I guess don't get that we're doing the same thing over and over and over again. And it gets really boring. You're not living. You're just kind of, it's like a stagnant, it's stagnant air. Literally. Dominion Voting Systems manages elections in almost all swing states. Okay. It was a very good presentation, 17 minutes. You might want to listen to it. I'll put the link in again because I'd like to just move on to what do I want to move on to? Oh, this? Yeah, what could possibly go wrong? November 6 and 7. With a large-scale cybersecurity exercise on November 5. So Homeland Security is putting on a conference on critical infrastructure, 6th and the 7th, with a large-scale cybersecurity exercise on November 5. Let me just see. What is the date? Oh, a large-scale cybersecurity exercise on Election Day. Wow. Well, that Tuesday's going to be mighty busy. Homeland Security. What a trip. We are just, look, I don't know. I just don't know. Nothing like pushing the wrong button and the entire internet shutting down. Oh, plan for anything. plan for anything. Plan and prepare for anything. Yeah. I wish all communities were like what's happening in the Appalachian Mountains of North Carolina, East Tennessee, but a whole lot of people have come from different states, like here, West Virginia. This is what all communities need, especially when you're at war.
All right, we got excavators coming in. They're going to try to make a road with chimney rock. We got strip miners. They're bringing in a 60,000-pound excavator next. They're going to try to push that road down into chimney rock, if you can believe that shit or not. But that's all because of what we're doing here at the hub. All these people are back in here because we established this hub and got people to start going through the roadblocks. And that's how it happens, man. Now we got crews up here cutting firewood, cutting trees, grading driveways, skid steers. Now they're going to be back there building that road. They're bringing in a whole bunch of axes.
Wow.
So, yeah, none of this would have happened unless we took that step out in faith. Just came on down here, past those barricades, and just made it happen. Now everybody drives past the barricade. All right, we got.
Just incredibly impressive. They're showing us that we don't need government, that we do not need government. They're also showing us how government impedes recovery. I have, wow, mucho respect for what's all of these, men and women who are hands-on. 3 weeks later, now I've seen there have been a real outpouring of help when we've had major disasters, tornadoes and things like that, but it lasts about a week. This is ongoing. This is very cool. Floridians, get down to help those elderly neighbors of yours that need help. And yeah, it's still happening. What's still happening? You'll find out.
Okay, guys, we're in Lake Lure again. We just delivered some food, but I want to tell you what just happened. FEMA is here. You know that from the other day when I told you that FEMA was here. They have just gone in and confiscated the store that I told you about and showed you pictures of. They are making the people leave, get their stuff as quickly as they can, or they will take it from them. That tent was full just Friday, y'all. Okay, guys, we're in Lake Lure.
That's our fabulous government. Now, I will post the link to this interview with 2 men that got past the armed guards at the FEMA camp outside of Asheville. And, it's funny because they do mention those mobile tornado shelters. But in one video, I saw that there's like 12. I don't know. I'd have to go back to that video, but there's a whole lineup of all of these red tornado shelters in this camp. Really? So are they expecting a pretty big tornado? Because, yeah, North Carolina, it's Tornado Alley. No, it isn't. Oh, right. No. What are those tornado shelters for? And I have to say, my brain did go to a good place to gas people. What are they doing in this camp? Now, there wasn't much information that these two guys got, but they were able to get in there. And JWTV interviews them. And, government creates their own suspicion for the conspiracy theorists, right? Because no matter what they're doing, it's always suspicious and hidden and get out, and they get aggressive. And that's what, well, it begs questions. Why? What are you hiding in this camp? For 700 personnel, FEMA personnel? Really? Not for all of those who have lost their homes and it's getting mighty cold? Not for them? It's for FEMA employees? There's something else going on. And the loss is real. Yeah, it is really real. What are you looking at? You are looking at a family member on a mattress going down the river. Thank you to Ty and Charlene Bollinger, who are raising money to buy RVs for families who lost everything. Yes. Yes. That's what you're seeing, a lot of good people. And we need to see that. It's inspiring. It's motivating. And other people can do it, not just Ty and Charlene. Looking at a family member going down the river on a mattress. And here, okay, anybody in Savannah, Georgia, have a 7x14 or 7x16 enclosed trailer. They need it to transport goods. And they unfortunately lost another volunteer with the trailer.
Hey guys, just wanted to give you an update. We're back in Savannah. We're now focused on trying to keep people warm throughout the winter here in North Carolina. We've got back to Savannah because purchasing anything out of Charlotte or Columbia, everything's kind of, the shelves there have kind of been ravaged. So I'm over here with Lacey. She's the one helping us out here at Lowe's, and boy, they have generous hearts. They're helping us work out some prices so that we can get as much as we can possibly get with the funds that you guys have donated to us. I just want to thank you again for all those who have donated monetarily, and those who have donated with their time and their energy on the ground. I know it means a lot to the people of Appalachia. So just wanted to give you an update. I'll post a video tonight or some photos that we had from Pensacola and our efforts there. But thank you again. We appreciate you. These people appreciate you. And we'll be back on the ground here in a few days.
So, Tracy Beans, I'm sure many of you will remember her. So, writes that they've purchased the supplies for Avery in Western North Carolina, but they need help. They need a trailer. Someone in Savannah, Georgia, or close by. I will post the link. And Sassafras. For those in North Carolina and Tennessee affected by the hurricane, here is an update on locations for free hot meals. So, especially when people are asking for help and I post the link, I hope you guys circulate that link. Okay, so the link to the update where they can get some hot meals: World Central Kitchen, First Baptist Church, Spruce Pine, Mitchell Relief Center, Spruce Pine, Bakersville, North Carolina, Roan Mountain Baptist Church, Care Center, 25 United, Lookout Brewing, Community Table. Hi, Mark. Please circulate the links. So I just want to just cover this. You know, I mean, it is remarkable how, I mean, that we're at war and they're using every weapon against us. Weather, food, air, water, economy, everything. And we do seem to just kind of sit back and take it.
American chicken is banned in the European Union because it's washed in chlorine during process. 2. American ground.
Let me refresh. But yeah, an awful lot of countries will not take our foods anymore and products because our products suck now. We certainly are not who we were decades ago. And now, wow. You know, I mean, people around the world are just thinking, yeah, Americans, you're just so swell.
1. American chicken is banned in the European Union because it's washed in chlorine during process. 2. American ground beef is banned because they use a chemical called pink slime that uses ammonia gas, who has antimicrobial properties. It has been proven dangerous for your health and will affect your gut health. 3. Pork is banned because they use a chemical called ractopamine that is added to the animal feed and has been proven to be harmful to your health and is banned in 160 countries in the world except United States. 4. Farm-raised salmon is banned because they use chemicals like metal, mercury, dioxin, and antibiotics. 5. Milk is banned because they use a synthetic growth hormone called grug, made by Monsanto, that has been linked to increased risks in cancer and hormone issues. And 6. Breakfast cereals like Frosted Flakes, Rice Krispies, Honey Bunches of Oats, which have tea that has been linked to cancer, asthma, and behavioral issues in children like lichen. Share this and check out the caption for more details, and visit me at Tightest Unlimited account. Book a consultation and let's talk about health.
Now, many of us have been trying to get the attention, especially of parents, with these cereals, right? And the vaccines and a whole lot for a long time. How about those psychiatric medications? For a really long time. And we got nowhere? Nowhere? So my subscriber here is a teaching assistant at the elementary school. And this is a school that is very small. I think 100 kids. Every day. It's just a headache because the kids are out of control. And while she would love for the other adults to discipline them, and she will yell at them, but she can't even get anywhere with the other adults, the teachers, the principals, to discipline these children who are out of control. Teaching has become a nightmare. And if you haven't, you should put in a YouTube search, teachers quitting, and hear why. The behavior of kids. They don't listen. They don't care that a teacher is trying to teach them. They get up, they walk around. I mean, it really sounds like a zoo when I hear the stories from this subscriber. It sounds like a zoo. And the only animals in there are the two-legged kids. And also that they can barely read, write. Where do you think these kids are going to end up? And then you have the few students that really do want to learn, and they have to suffer the consequences of all of the other students who are disruptive. Well, that seems to be the case in every public school around the country, because there are so many videos of teachers quitting, and a whole lot of it has to do with it's a nightmare. Food, that sharp product, those meds, which only cause them to be diagnosed further because the adverse effects of the psychiatric medications can mimic other mental illnesses in the DSM. And wow, then these kids are put on a cocktail of psychiatric meds. It's an evil shit show we've got going here in our country. Now, the animals too. When I was growing up, it was unheard of for dogs and cats to come down with human illnesses, cancer, tumors, allergies. That started when they started mandating pets to be vaccinated.
As vets, you do not know what are the ingredients in the pet vaccines. Is that correct?
When I first started practicing, there were inserts with some warnings and some ingredients. They have since removed those pamphlets. And despite my calling the pharmaceutical companies, they will not give me any information. They say it's proprietary. So it's really impossible at this time for me to find out exactly what's in there.
Many people are asking, can they just get tighter testing instead? Do they have to vaccinate their animal?
You don't have to do anything from the veterinarian's point of view. They can't make you do anything. They can't even make you get a rabies shot. Many vets these days will accept titers. Flea and tick products, another poison we're putting in the animals. I would absolutely stay as far away from them as possible. It's like not an option. I use natural products in my yard and in my house to repel fleas. I use nematodes. They're microscopic worms that you can buy that all they do is eat flea larvae. And if you live in a house, you could put it in the yard and you do it like every 10 years. And I really have had no fleas since then. You could use borax products in the house that physically dehydrate fleas. And I really haven't had a flea problem in my house for about 15 years. You can use diatomaceous earth, which is fossilized algae, to rub into the dog or cat's coat once a week. That will 100% repel fleas and ticks.
So, yeah, You need to care. You need to care about the society that you live in, not just about yourself, right? Because if a whole lot of people cared, we wouldn't be here. But we're here. And now it's so overwhelming that it's, when you think about everything that we're facing, confronted with, yeah. And then look at the population, a whole lot of Americans, yeah, not capable of doing anything but just living their life. That means that for those of us who do care, you get out into your community and try to build community. You do live honestly and speak honestly. That is the number one action to take, because without that, we can't get anywhere. Without that, everything just continues to go on and on and on. And of course, we need people in the aggregate to be living honestly and speaking honestly. It does require self-examination, self-reflection, because we grow up in a society and we put on the mask, and we grow up in this materialistic society as bullshit people mouthing all of what we value. But really, it's the dollar. We got to face all of that. And even ask yourself, what does it mean to speak honestly? What does it mean to live honestly? Because a whole lot of Americans don't even know. Because they're so living this pretense, and they don't even realize it. Yeah, even it does not. Look, the truth will set you free. It's not the collective truth of what's happening. It's the truth within yourself. So, wow, man, do we have a lot going on. And oh yeah, the Lyme disease. Yep. Yeah. So, and always, you take the action, you let go of the result. Doesn't matter how people respond to you. What matters is the action that you take, and we do our best. We help people in need, and that is absolutely crucial. So, yeah, man. Thank you for showing up, and I hope to see you tomorrow. And good night and good luck. Ciao, guys.